too early, or crisis aborts, or faulty latches, but it was hard to remember emergency plans in the middle of an emergency. There was a button somewhere, or a switch. She was too lightheaded. Her hands didn't work. Her brain was shutting down, synapses sparking, sending a single message. Air, 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 air. She struck the glass again. It didn't even crack. It was meant to last centuries, meant to withstand zero gravity and 1,000 times atmospheric pressure and 2,000 degrees Kelvin and 0 degrees Kelvin. But she kept pounding, each hit a bit weaker, a bit quieter. She hit the glass until her strength gave out. Her arms fell to her sides. Just before her eyes slid shut, she saw a face above her. No one she recognized. There was no bright light, no life flashing before her eyes, no air, just water and drowning and dying and water. Then nothing. When she woke the second time, she was coughing up saline. This was an improvement. Her throat was sore. It ached down into the recesses of her chest. She didn't want to breathe. It hurt too much, but she had to. Just as soon as she coughed all the water out of her lungs. At first, her senses didn't extend past pain. Then she heard shouts, murmurs, whispers, syllables that weren't words, words without meaning. Strong arms held her. A rough hand patted her back. Not the cryotech. They weren't allowed to touch. Not her mom, either. She didn't coddle. The water was gone now, but the sting remained, the compulsion to cough. She gasped in a breath, and it dragged through her lungs, her throat, catching and tearing as it went. But it kept her alive, so she pulled in another, and another, shivering, shaking off flecks of ice. So cold. She thought about opening her eyes, but decided against it. Too much work. So she breathed, and then she slept. And then, for the first time in 100 years, she dreamed. "Will I dream?" she asked. "No, you'll be sleeping too deeply, like a computer shutting down." "Will I know time is passing?" "When they wake you, it'll feel like seconds from now." "When will they wake me?" "When you reach the new planet." "So you're the last person I'll ever speak to on Earth." "Don't be so morbid." The third time, Andra woke to the tinny whirring of a fan. A blast of air hit her right cheek and shoulder, alleviating some of the oppressive heat. Sticky globs of residual cryoprotectant clung to her skin. She shivered and opened her eyes. She was awake. She jerked into a half-sitting position. This was a new planet. 100 years had passed. She had to find her family. She had to tell her mom she was sorry. She was in the dirtiest room known to man. The floors were dirt. The walls crusted with something she hoped was dirt. It was like a cave. A single shaft of light filtering in through a high, thin window with no glass or hollow screen, and a plume of sand puffed in on an arid gust of wind. The room was empty, except for the bed she was sitting on, a metal table, and on top of that the fan, which looked like it was running on some sort of kinetic energy.